When I'm coaching academics, I'm often struck by the amount of fear that runs through all that they do. Fear for having your article rejected in peer review. Fear when the money stops. A grant proposal does not come through, you don't win the grant lottery, a temporary contract is not renewed, student evaluations don't turn out the way you want them, or maybe they do, but you fear that they don't, so you overwork things. You constantly transgress your own boundaries. And it doesn't really matter where you are in the academic hierarchy. It plays on all levels. The fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of not belonging to the in-group, of being an outsider. And then, of course, there are some specific challenges when you belong to a minority group, and you don't know the unspoken rules. When you come from a different culture and there are cultural differences that sort of make the collaboration and the communication not go so smooth as you would want them to. Also, when you are not in the top of the hierarchy and you have to deal with harassment, whether it is scientific, sexual, or otherwise, you can fear the constant transgression of your boundaries, and you don't want to speak up because you're afraid that this may have negative impact on your job evaluation and your career prospects. And no matter where you stand in the academic hierarchy, whether you are a PhD student, a lecturer, an assistant professor, no matter that, what these fears have in common is that they touch on our sense of safety, of belonging, of connection, acknowledgement even. And it doesn't even matter whether the reason for the fear is realistic. The point is, we feel the fear, and what is worse, the academic culture can train you to internalize self-criticism because you're so trained as a professional to find fault in arguments, in hypotheses, in computer programs. You're looking with a critical eye all the time. And when you internalize that, you look with a critical eye towards yourself too. It's a professional deficiency, you might say. And when you internalize that criticism and you have that tap into all these kinds of fears that touch on your sense of safety, belonging, worthiness, then you can trigger a lot of stuff, unhealthy stuff, that you really don't want. You work too hard constantly, all the time, leading to burnout. You lose courage, you become depressed, you feel ashamed, being weak, supposedly. You feel guilty for not living up to expectations, or for failing, etc. When I speak with clients who have the courage to face these fears, whether they are real in the outside world or just perceived, whether they are internal in ourselves, fear of our own shadow, maybe fear of the power that we have, power that we don't have, our own expectations, the sides of our own character that maybe we don't appreciate so much, then we become so harsh. And when I see clients able to stop and face those fears, face those shadow sides with courage that it takes, and when I see them step into the love and compassion needed to integrate all these darker sides in ourselves, step into the courage that is needed to deal with factors that cause this fear in the world that surrounds them, in their academic world, in their academic communities, then I feel such awe for these beautiful people. And then I feel that there is hope that we can improve the academic culture to become more humane and more welcoming to all of who we are as human beings when we are doing research. Because it really is an illusion that we can leave behind who we are when we are doing research. We may fool ourselves that we are doing as objective research as we can, but we are human beings and we cannot leave what lives inside our minds, inside our hearts, when we are doing the science that we do, when we are collaborating with other thinkers in the field. This makes me feel so grateful when I can walk a little while with a researcher who is on this path of being courageous and taking these steps to embrace compassion, love, and make space for the darker sides that can then integrate and bloom into talents. And it is not a matter of becoming vulnerable or soft in any way. You don't relax your standards of professional excellence. What you're doing is being kinder towards yourself, operating from a more sustainable mindset, tapping into your true talents and the purpose that drives you to do the research that you do. And in that way, you bring the best that you have to your work. And we can, in that way, make academia a better place.